So the Boston Celtics home woes continue to be a problem for them, and they're 15-9 right now. They had a tough loss against the Rockets the other day. And then you look at the recent games, they came back from their first road trip and laid a dud against Sacramento. They barely beat the Pelicans. They looked really good against Orlando. Then they blew that game against Atlanta where they had the ball up, I believe it was 3 points, and Drew Holiday just threw the ball away. And it's like, what are we doing here? And then the game against the Clippers on the road, where again Jalen Brown had the ball in the corner, he threw the ball away to Derrick Jones Jr. and sent that game to overtime. Thank God they won. But the games they have won recently, they're I believe 10-9 in the last 19 games. It's concerning because they've been inconsistent at times. They've had moments where they look dominant, other moments they don't look so good. One of the things I want to see from the Celtics going forward is take the ball out of Jason Tatum's hands and have him start in the middle of the mid-range area. The reason why I say that because what happens is when he's on the perimeter with the ball, teams are going to blitz him and get the ball out of his hands faster. The problem is Tatum doesn't go and get the ball again. He doesn't play off the ball. He watches every guy move the ball around, get their dribble, 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 kick out for a three, and that's it. I think Tatum needs to make that adjustment because Houston did a lot to him. Now, I do like the fact he was more aggressive in that third quarter. He got 15 points in the third. I didn't like the fact that he only got 4 points in the fourth quarter. Some people will say, well, he was tired because he's logged a lot of minutes recently and his numbers are down. But at the end of the day, you have to be the best player on the basketball court. And 4 points is not good enough, especially when they need you that night when Derek White is sitting out and Sam Hauser sitting out. So I need more from Tatum going forward. Now, what will help his game is if he's being blitzed, go to the middle of the paint, post up, work in that situation, operate from that end. Because I think what I don't see enough of him is playing in that post area where they'd like to throw pick and rolls for Tatum just to get him mismatches, but maybe just play your guy one on one and see what you do from there. Because if we draw double teams in the middle, now you're collapsing the defense. You had them in rotation. You move the ball around and maybe get the ball for a clean 3-point shot or a clean mid range shot. I want to see Tatum cutting more too. Again, I think if he does these things, it helps the offense not get predictable and stagnant. Also, Jalen Brown, man, he missed so many open threes in that game against Houston, and he hasn't been shooting well from three. I had him as an all-star reserve. I don't think he deserves to be an all-star. He has not been that good this year. He's been underwhelming at times, and he's gone back to points in his career where he's turned the ball over too much, where he's just throwing the ball away, fumbling the basketball, dribbling too much. So I don't know what's going on with Jalen Brown. But losing at home is just concerning because eventually you want to establish some dominance. Now on the road, they've been great, and they've gone 3-1 in both their Western Conference road trips this year. Where they've gone out west and won 3 of their 4 games. I know the game against the Lakers, it was just a schedule loss. They didn't really care about that game. Losing to OKC, I'm not really mad about because OKC, they had more motivation. They had some, something to prove there. So for Boston right now, they need to go on a little bit of a run. They need to start getting some wins, maybe win 3 or 4 in a row. They got the Pels coming up in the Bulls. The Bulls today, the Pels, and then they got the Philly and Cleveland. Now here's the good news. They got one more home game against Chicago. They better win that game tonight. Then you got to go to the Pelicans. They should win that game too. Now you just have to feel good about yourself. And also, they're better on the road. So they go to Philly on Sunday. Then they go to Cleveland next Tuesday. I think this is an important stretch to start to really turn things around and start to feel good about yourself. I would love to see them win 4 straight games coming up because that's going to give them some confidence, get their momentum going. Then you come home against Dallas, and obviously, Dallas is going to be up for that game. I'm assuming Luka, hopefully he's back by then. But even if he's not, you win 5 in a row, and you start to feel better about yourself. So to me, this is an important stretch of basketball for Boston just to pick it up because the Knicks are a game behind them for second. And you don't want to go in the playoffs having to go on the road to New York and to Cleveland. You're just going to create such a mountain for yourself that you don't need to create. That adversity is too much. So the Celtics just need to get it together. Now, the three-point shooting, they have not shot the ball well. The variance has been really bad. And I know people are saying, well, they need to just jack up more threes. I think the ball movement needs to get better. There's been a lot of moments where, I wouldn't say a lot, there's been some moments where they play too much isolation basketball. And they just don't work hard enough to generate three-point shots. It's like one pass, and that's it. They need to move the ball more and get that defensive rotation. That's how they generate their shots. That's how they get clean three-point looks. And I know Derek White's been up and down. I know he had a good game against Dallas, but it took a whole half. But he still ended up shooting well and getting his shots off. And he played well, especially in that third quarter against Dallas. I just think right now Boston's in. People are saying like that championship hangover. cool, but it gets old after a while. You want to see this team start to pick it up and dominate again. And losing 9 games at home is inexcusable. Like that's not a good thing, especially when I see against the Hawks and you had that game in the bag and you lose it. Then you look at the game against Houston. Jason Tatum only has 4 points. I don't want to hear about, oh, he was doubled, he was tired. No, your best player gets the job done. Also, these rotations. Can we please stop this habit of, we take out Tatum with 6 minutes left? Now, this does work, but what they do is in the fourth quarter, Joe Mazzulla likes to start with Jaylen Brown. Now, he did start with Tatum. I would like to see that more consistently. Have Brown play his 4 or 5 minutes in the first quarter, bring back Tatum, let him play for a stretch, bring back Brown in the second quarter, and have Tatum play the last 2 to 3 minutes of each quarter. And that works out really well, except the fourth quarter. Let him go in the fourth quarter, start out with his bench unit and a starting rotation piece. See what happens there. Bring in Jaylen Brown at the 8 minute mark, and then let Tatum rest for 3 to 4 minutes, and then bring him in for the closing minutes of the fourth quarter. That's what they need to do consistent. Now, I get why Tatum played the whole fourth quarter because Derek White and Sam Hauser were out. So I don't know if Tatum is going to be resting tonight. I did hear reports that he might rest his knee tonight. His numbers have been down the past 5 games, so it makes sense to give him the night off. I think Levine is out as well. So if their best player is out, you might as well sit out Jason Tatum. So we'll see how this all plays out for the Celtics. Jason Tatum still needs to be more reliable in that fourth quarter. I know that he might be tired, but again, you were off on Sunday. You came back home, and the team needed him. Now he did make that game time layup to potentially send him to overtime. I thought the rotation, bringing in Cornet at the end of the game was terrible, and I don't understand this. Al Horford was sitting on the bench but didn't play on Monday. That didn't make any sense to me. Some odd things going on in Boston, and the home struggles worry me. They really do. Right now, I'm on the fence with this team. I don't know if they're going to repeat. I go back and forth. If I can see some games where they win like 4 or 5 in a row, then it's like, okay, they're starting to pick it up. But if I don't see that in the next month, I'm out on Boston. I'm sorry. Like, you could tell me, oh, they're going to just turn up in the playoffs. No, that won't work. It's a bad habit. It doesn't end up well. You end up getting smoked out in the playoffs. So Boston needs to have some sense of urgency, some pride here. I know Porzingis has been really good for them. He's been very reliable. But at the end of the day, Boston needs to consider, okay, we got to ramp things up because, the trade deadline's around the corner and maybe you get another big or another wing. I don't know. But right now it's just frustrating to watch this team at home and continue to be inconsistent. You just want to see some resemblance of dominance. Now, again, I'm not expecting them to have the same dominant seasons last year. It's not realistic. It's not going to happen because when you're coming off that championship, you don't win as many games. So as long as they stay the course, handle your business in the next 2 games because then I think they end up 10-6 in January, which is better than last month. So that's an improvement. If they handle the business, then they go on the road, they beat teams like Philly and Cleveland. That will help them out and start to turn things in the right direction. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Love to hear your thoughts as Celtics fans. Are you concerned about the home struggles? Are you, not panicking? Do you think they're still going to win it all? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.